next thing that I want to talk to you about, sometimes it's good to step away from your project and then come back. Like, you guys see my sphere that's sitting on top of my cube? Ooh, it's a little rough, isn't it? And I didn't really notice how wonky it was until I just put it up on the screen and backed away from it. So I need to kind of go up there and smooth that out and not make it look so weird. It's kind of elongated here and here. So what I've done is I went back through and I kind of darkened up my values and kind of established them out the way that I want them. So tried to have a nice range from 0 to 10. So far I don't have my 10s on there yet because I'm gonna work on my cash shadows here. And I'm gonna start kind of working on that with you guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick a form to kind of look at and then start putting that in shadow wise. And then probably just start to talk to you about other ones. Like I want to save one cash shadow per class period if I'm able to. Okay. All right. So for you guys, I'm going to look down here and I want to talk about where you would place the shadow from the cylinder here onto the cube, and then come back to this one later. So this one will probably come down and project onto the cylinder, but I won't worry about that right now. I'm gonna just do this, and then you guys are just gonna have to sit and think about where your light source is coming from, and then in what direction does that cause the cast shadows to go in, okay? And I've been putting up that image that has like the group of things in there and then a corner each. So you can look at that and that can kind of help you, okay? So I know for cast shadow wise, I'll end up probably needing a ruler, but I can start with just freehanding it. And I'm gonna start with my 2H pencil where it's light and 4B where it's dark, okay? So I'm gonna work at looking at, so my cast shadow is coming from my upper right and it's shining down this way. And that's kind of how all of my value and my shape should be reflecting right now, okay? That it's coming from this side. Now I have to start thinking about how things are gonna project off on or from the form and how they're gonna lay, and then how, if it lays on another form, how does that skew that, or how is the shadow gonna like curve and change, okay? So for example, on this cylinder here, it is coming out of the cube, okay? It's coming forward towards the viewer. So now I have to think about, if my light source is coming in from this way, how is that cast shadow gonna lay down? And the angle of this cast shadow is going to determine all my angles for the rest of all my other cast shadows, pretty much. Okay, for the most part. So there won't be any cast shadow over here because there's nothing in front of it, but there will be coming off of this corner. And I'm not gonna go straight across because my light source is coming in at an angle. So more than likely, my cast shadow is gonna come across here like that. Okay, it's gonna angle because this is coming forward, and so this is gonna angle through. Okay, and it's straight because it's got a flat side up here. I can do a little bit of a curve-ish, and then it is straight because it's on the flat part here. Okay, then for this underneath side, what I really need to show is the difference between the connection point of the cylinder and the cube. Since the edge of this cube is coming out, and it's kind of overlapping, so I'm gonna have another cast shadow that's gonna fall like this on the cylinder if it's coming this way. Okay, so this part of my cylinder is gonna get quite a bit darker. So let me kind of start shading this in. And the cast shadow here, I'm just gonna start with my 2H pencil, So what I'm doing is I'm starting lighter rather than darker so I can make sure that once I get all my cast shadows in, if I need to increase, I'll do that. I can do that. And I need to go over your guys' timeline with you. Okay, so I'm starting a little bit lighter just to start off with, okay? Trying to get that angle in there. Then I'm gonna come in with my B pencil and I'm gonna go ahead and shade this part of my cylinder darker than the rest of the cylinder. Okay, deal here is, even though there's a cast shadow on it, like that, the form is still round. So within the cylinder itself, now I have to go from dark to light, kind of within that cast shadow. As much as I'm able to, okay? You guys see that? All right, then I have to make sure that I kind of have a cast shadow that's coming out from the cylinder onto the back of this cube. Really all I need to do is I want to sharpen my pencil so I get a nice point here. And what I'm doing is at this connection point, I'm going to turn my paper here a little bit so it's a little easier for me to work in. Where they connect right in here is going to be quite a bit darker. So right at their connection point is where I'm going to come in and I'm kind of lining up. That should be like a curve in there. I'm kind of lining up where the cast shadow would kind of fall. And then I'd have another one, bless you, just a little bit over here on this side. Bless you. And kind of let it do a gradual fade so that I can see the difference between like where my cylinder is, bless you, going into the base here. Okay, so I've darkened that up quite a bit. Okay. Okay, so that's just an example there of how you start to get your cast shadows to lay on your forms, and you have to think about your angles, stuff like that, okay? So another one that I'll need to think about later, this one here is going to be kind of tough because it's really long out there, and if I think about it coming, so this cast shadow is probably going to go on this cylinder. And I have to think about my angle. So probably more than likely if I go from this corner and line it up at the same kind of angle that I have going on here, then the cast shadow for that is probably going to start like somewhere in here and then kind of go through that whole side. Okay, so, and the cast shadow for this part kind of starting there. So just kind of start giving yourself guidelines and start lighter rather than darker. Some people went like way hardcore. In the end, your cast shadows, for the most part, should be pretty dark. Okay, those should be like your 10s. So if you've gotten pretty dark in your forms, that's okay. What you can do is get that kneaded eraser or your regular big eraser, and you can kind of pull out some value. Like if you got way too dark, you can use your eraser to clean up things. Like if you've gone out like in the cone here, I need to kind of straighten out some of those hairy lines so I can use my eraser for that. So basically what I want to do is get all my forms shaded in. Then I can blend them. Then I want to start establishing my cast shadows and start getting them lighter rather than darker. Once you get them all established, then you can go back through, blend those out, and then on the paper all around, I'm probably going to put like a 2 value just all the way through the paper so that nothing is, the only thing that'll be blank paper are your really hot highlights And then like even in this cone here, I'm going to come in and take my eraser and peel some of that value out of there. Okay, I don't have to worry about giving this like a reflection highlight on the other side because it's not sitting on a table surface. Mine's just going to be kind of floating, and so there won't be anything to bounce that light back there. But if you've already put those in, that's okay. You're just showing more form. All right, does anyone have any questions over that? Okay, so